Before we get into today's injury news around the Las Vegas Raiders, Jeremy Chuggs and I, we're going to be live tonight. Vikings, Eagles, Thursday night football watch party here on the Raiders Report. Make sure you're subscribed because it's going to be wild, and we're doing a jersey giveaway. Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here, host of the Raiders Report, and I've been getting asked a lot about some of these injury updates. The Las Vegas Raiders, they released their injury report ahead of their Week 2 game going up against the Buffalo Bills. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to roll through all of the injury news that the nation needs to know. Let's first talk about the quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, because when Garoppolo popped up on the injury report yesterday, I got a few people sending me DMs like, oh, bro, here we go. It's already beginning. It's going to be fine. Vic Tafur reported that he was going to be okay. I then spoke to some people myself. Everything is A-okay for Mr. Jimmy G. He practiced in full today, but he wasn't the only name that made some people from the nation hit that panic button. There's also this guy. His name's Davante Adams. Maybe you've heard of him. He was also did not practice yesterday, and everyone was like, oh, crap, what the heck's going on? Just a veteran rest day. Practiced in full today. The fact that Jimmy G, Davante, both are going to be ready to go up against the Bills hopefully makes people just calm down a little bit in the middle of the week. An injury definitely to keep an eye on is DeAndre Carter. He did play in Week 1, but he's been limited with the knee. Carter's biggest impact for this team is on special teams. Punt returner, kick returner, and if he is battling with that knee injury, plus we're going to talk about another wide receiver here in just a second, really curious to see what Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler decide to do with rookie Trey Tucker, because if Carter's injury is limited and if the Raiders are out or without Jakobi Meyers, we better freaking see Trey Tucker this upcoming game. Speaking of Jakobi, let's talk about him. He did not participate. Again, he is in the concussion protocol. If anybody is looking for an update on Jakobi, it's not going to happen. If you're the Raiders, you take it slow with Meyers. Like, he's not going to practice on Wednesday. He's not going to practice on Thursday. I don't anticipate that he's going to practice on Friday. But if he passes concussion protocol, expect to see him out there. If he does not practice on Friday and we don't get any update by Saturday morning, I'm not going to hold my breath to see if Meyers is going to be out there for the Raiders against the Bills, which obviously sucks because he was Jimmy G's go-to guy against Denver. 8 grabs, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. But that means somebody else has to step up. You know Davante is going to get his. That's not a breaking news story. Davante is going to get his. Then if Jakobi's out, that means somebody else has got to step up. So my question to the nation is this, and this will be the pinned comment on today's show. Who's going to make the biggest impact out of the 4 receivers that you see? If it's going to be Hunter Renfrow, type 13. If you think it's going to be the rookie Trey Tucker, type 11. What about Kristian Wilkerson, type 83? Or if you believe that it's going to be DeAndre Carter, I want you to type 3. My answer to this is it better frickin' be 13. The fact that Renfrow had 13 snaps last week and Kristian Wilkerson had 13 snaps, I'm not trying to take anything away from Wilkerson. He's a good player, and if he has 13 snaps, great. But if you're going to be paying a wide receiver the amount of money that you're paying Renfrow, $13 million of this upcoming season, and you're not going to have Jakobi Meyers out there, this is the opportunity for Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, to just put a lot of Raider fans at ease and saying, hey, we do actually have a plan for Hunter Renfrow. Because I'll tell you what, if Meyers does not go, this team better, and I mean better, figure out a way how to get number 13. Because if I don't get some third and Renfrows this upcoming week, I'm going to be one and happy camper. Now, for those of you that do know, yes, we are sponsored by GameTime. Talked about them last week. And hey, Raiders came away with a big-time win. So if you haven't already gotten started with our sponsor, GameTime, download this app right now. I've been using it for a very long time. When I first moved down here to Dallas, Texas, was looking for events, right? Do I want to go to a baseball game? Do I want to go to an NFL game? Maybe I want to go to a comedy club, a concert. Shit. We're actually going to a Drake concert, Chuggs and I, and we got our tickets on GameTime, and y'all can get your tickets as well. $20 off with code RaidersChat. So buying tickets to your favorite events shouldn't be stressful. This year I bought my fiance Alex, her dad, Cowboys and Raiders tickets, and as I mentioned, Jeremy and I, we got, I'm not trying to brag here, but I'm going to brag a little bit. Jugs and I got some floor seats to go watch Drake, and I'm pretty freaking hyped up about it. And I'll tell you what, the best part about it was the ease and just the lack of stress, because I deal with a lot of stuff. The last thing that I want to have to worry about is my ticket prices, and GameTime here is here to hook you up. On top of that, if anybody plans on going out to Las Vegas, it's the perfect app for when you're out in Vegas. There is so many things to do when you go out there. If you want to watch a Raiders game, great. Go ahead and do it. Obviously, I would encourage anybody to do that. But when you're out in Vegas, I don't know about you, I get sidetracked, right? Like if I want to go to a show in Vegas, I can go do it. But I'm also a last-minute shopper, and because of that, GameTime is the perfect app for me, and I think it's the perfect app for a lot of y'all. So Raider Nation, create an account and redeem code RaidersChat for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Forget planning months in advance. GameTime has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and a whole bunch more. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code RaidersChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, one more time here. Create an account and redeem code RaidersChat for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. That link's going to be available for you guys down in the comments and in the description of today's show. Let's keep rocking here with the offensive side of the football. Jermaine Eluemunor was limited with an ankle injury. And if you remember, about 10 days ago at this point, I was at home, and I told y'all that Jermaine told me that he's battling a little bit of an injury, but he's going to be okay for week 1 against Denver. Just talked to a source close to Jermaine, and he told me that it's the exact same thing here. They're just playing it safe. They know how important this offensive line is to keep Jimmy Garoppolo healthy. Jermaine's dealing with just something minor. He's going to be okay for week 2 against Buffalo. Another injury here to look at for the offensive line is Jordan Meredith, and when the Raiders kept their 8 offensive linemen on the 53-man roster, the backups were Justin Herron, stinks. Jordan Meredith, because he could play all the guard spots and in a pinch can end up playing center on top of that. And then it was also Thayer Munford. The Raiders this past week ran a lot of 6 offensive line sets with Munford out there and kind of as like the extra tight end setup. The reason why this Jordan Meredith injury is something to look at, because if he did not participate with a calf for back-to-back days, and if he's unable to go, this is what the Raiders' offensive line depth chart looks like. All it takes is one injury, and it's going to get interesting. I do think if Parham, James, or Greg Van Roten ended up getting hurt, if it's Andre James, you'd kick Dylan Parham in at center. You'd probably keep Greg Van Roten at right guard, maybe even kick Jermaine Eluemunor over to left guard, or kick Greg Van Roten over to left guard. If other injuries then happen, then you would have to move with Thayer Munford. The thing that I'm really upset about that happened yesterday is this Raiders organization does frustrate me at points, because to me, I would rather show faith in Carmen Rosillo, one of the best Raiders one of the best offensive line coaches in the NFL, and I would rather build and do something with our young talent. Unfortunately, the Raiders had a few players sniped off their practice squad yesterday. Sam Webb went to Carolina. That one stinks. And then McClendon Curtis going to Seattle. To me, I would have kept McClendon Curtis every single day of the week over Jordan Meredith. So if you're the Raiders and you knew Wednesday before, literally before Curtis got signed by Seattle, if you knew Meredith was dealing with some injuries, why would you not put maybe Meredith on the practice squad and then put McClendon Curtis on your 53? Very, very frustrating. But Seattle, they're going to get themselves a good one. All right, what about this? Since we're talking a lot about the offensive line, this is where games are won and lost in the league. It's in the trenches. You can have all the sexy big-name players you want. If you don't got it in the trenches, it ain't going to happen. So scale it from me 1 to 10. 1 being you're not confident at all. 10, best offensive line in the NFL. My confidence level in the Raiders' O-line right now, based off what I saw, was an 8. They have one of the best pass-blocking offensive lines. PFF gave them a number 2 grade, essentially, out of all 32 teams. They did rank their run blocking at number 12 overall, but I'd say people who actually watched the game, there's no way in hell you thought that the Raiders had the 12th best run-blocking offensive line. Run blocking needs to get better. The pass blocking's there, but my overall confidence level in this unit is an 8. Coming up next here on the show, let's talk about the defensive side of the football with some of these injury news, and there's really only 2. Tre'von Moehrig, he practiced in full, which was definitely a good sign. Believe me, Moehrig was one of my biggest losers last week, and there were some flashes of good, there were some flashes of bad, and the problem with being one of the losers on the show for winners and losers, when your defense gives up only 16 points, you got to be a little bit nitpicky. That's just a cold, hard fact. But Moehrig was running around last week with a club on his hand. That's why Roderick Teamer ended up starting the second half. So it's not because they didn't like Moehrig. It's because there was the whole injury and they were trying to get his hand right. But he is dealing with a thumb. Practiced in full, so I'm going to anticipate that he's going to be out there against Buffalo. And then, unfortunately, the other guy listed on the Raiders injury report today was Chandler Jones. Still no updates on him. I don't know when you're going to see him. I don't know if you're going to see him. Hell, maybe we should put Chandler Jones in this lost jersey because he needs to figure it out right now. He did post on Twitter a video of him and his dog, which is probably the best thing that he's posted on social media in quite some time. If we do get an update on Chandler Jones, believe me, we'll let you know here on the Raiders Report. Jeremy Jugs and I got to do a few other things here around the studio. Remember, we will be live tonight for Thursday Night Football, and then we're going to be live again this Sunday. Raiders, Bills Mafia, make sure you're here on the show. It's going to be one hell of a time, and I know we're doing a jersey giveaway tonight. We're also going to be doing a jersey giveaway on Sunday.